An exam, 3 weeks from now, feels less real than the sandwich you plan to eat for lunch. This isn't a failure of character. It's a principle of neuropsychology called temporal discounting. To your brain, your future self is a stranger. MFRI studies show that when you think about your present self, the medial prefrontal cortex lights up, the same region involved in thinking about people you know well. But when you think about your future self, the activity pattern shifts, becoming more similar to how your brain processes thoughts about an unknown person. This is why giving a reward to your future self, like the relief of being prepared, feels like giving it to someone else. The value of that future reward is discounted based on its distance in time, following a steep curve known as hyperbolic discounting. A guaranteed A+ in a month is neurologically less appealing than the immediate, certain reward of watching one more video right now. Your brain is not built to easily trade a tangible present for an abstract future. As that distant date rushes into the present, the stranger becomes you, and the abstract threat becomes a very real deadline. This proximity triggers a powerful physiological state, time pressure arousal. It's not just panic, it's a biological focusing mechanism. Your brain's reticular activating system, a network of neurons in the brainstem, kicks into overdrive, increasing your overall state of wakefulness and attention. This relationship between arousal and performance is beautifully described by the Yerkes-Dodson law, which forms an inverted U-shape. Too little pressure and you're bored and unmotivated. Too much and you're paralyzed by anxiety. But in that sweet spot, the cram zone, the pressure is just enough to induce a state of hyperfocus. Distractions fade away, and the task at hand becomes your entire world. Your pupils dilate, not just from the dim light of your desk lamp, but from the surge of norepinephrine sharpening your focus to a razor's edge. So if this hyper-focused state is so effective, why do we wait until the last minute to access it? Because waiting isn't a logical choice, it's an emotional one. Procrastination is less about time management and more about emotion regulation. The very thought of starting a difficult chapter or solving a complex problem can trigger feelings of anxiety, boredom, or inadequacy in the brain's threat detection center, the amygdala. To your limbic system, this negative feeling is a threat to be avoided. The prefrontal cortex, your brain's long-term planner, might know that studying is the right thing to do, but it is locked in a battle with the much more primitive and powerful limbic system that screams for immediate relief. Choosing to scroll through social media instead of opening a textbook isn't laziness. It's your brain executing a successful, albeit short-sighted, strategy to regulate a negative emotion. The relief is instant. The consequence is delayed. Hand it off to that stranger, your future self. Even when we overcome the emotional hurdle and decide to plan, we are sabotaged by another cognitive glitch: the planning fallacy. First proposed by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, this is our profound tendency to underestimate the time needed to complete a future task, despite knowing that similar tasks have taken longer in the past. When you map out your study schedule, your brain engages in focalism, focusing only on the steps directly involved in the task itself, reading chapters, doing problems. It systematically fails to account for friction, interruptions, fatigue, finding a missing pen, or simply underestimating the difficulty of a concept. We construct a best-case scenario for our future self, the hero who will execute the plan flawlessly. This is the same cognitive bias that causes massive construction projects to run years behind schedule. Your plan to study 1 chapter per day is, in essence, a tiny Sydney opera house, beautiful in design, but disconnected from the messy reality of execution. Now it's 2 a.m. The plan has failed. The deadline is absolute, and the emotional escape is no longer an option. This is where the body's emergency systems create a surprising cognitive advantage. The intense stress of last-minute cramming triggers the adrenal glands to flood your system with norepinephrine and epinephrine. This isn't just a fight-or-flight response, it's a learn-or-die signal. Norepinephrine acts as a powerful neuromodulator, essentially telling the brain, "This is important, record this now." It particularly enhances synaptic plasticity in the hippocampus, the brain region critical for forming new episodic memories, and the amygdala, which flags these memories with emotional significance. This process, known as emotional tagging, makes memories formed under duress more robust and easier to recall, at least in the short term. The adrenaline-fueled, sleep-deprived cram session is effectively forcing your brain to burn the information into its neural pathways. It's a brute force method of memory consolidation, using a primitive survival mechanism to pass an exam. The next morning, you enter the exam hall exhausted, but armed with freshly consolidated, adrenaline-stamped memories. And more often than not, it works. You pass. This is the final, crucial step: reinforcement. By succeeding, you have just provided your brain with powerful evidence that this entire painful process is an effective strategy. The relief and positive outcome reinforce the entire neural pathway of procrastination. The memory of the stress fades faster than the memory of the success. The brain doesn't log the experience as a terrible ordeal to be avoided, but as a high-stress, high-reward strategy that paid off. And so, when the next semester begins and a new exam appears as a distant, abstract event on the calendar, your brain defaults to the proven system, confident that when the time comes, the stranger that is your future self will once again handle it.
Monotony has grown fast. Nearly 2,700 people have watched in the last few weeks, yet less than 0.03% are subscribed. It would mean a lot if you joined by hitting subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.